I recently faced something no parent should ever have to say out loud. 3 HOA enforcers showed up at my doorstep to take my son away, citing a violation of HOA custody compliance. Our neighbor stood across the street, grinning like she'd just saved Ethan's life. Funny thing is, the only ones taken away were them, in ambulances. Let me start from the beginning. I hadn't even finished pouring my coffee in our Maplewood home when the knock came. 3 loud hits, flat-palmed, too heavy to be neighborly. It wasn't a knock you answer barefoot. It was the kind that made me wish I still kept a shotgun by the door. I opened it slow. 3 men stood there, not mailmen, not meter readers, not delivery drivers with a broken GPS. These guys wore matte black tactical vests, reinforced boots, and knockoff comms clipped to their shoulders, like they wanted to look official without breaking the law. The only thing missing was a sign saying, "Not cops, please believe us." The tall one stepped forward, buzzed hair, wraparound sunglasses, and the smug confidence of a man who practices arrest poses in the mirror. "Mr. Carter," he said, scanning a clipboard like it held nuclear codes. "We're here for a scheduled compliance review under HOA custody ordinance." I blinked, didn't answer, just sized him up, wondering if this was a prank or a badly planned podcast stunt. The other 2 stood behind him, one stocky, arms crossed like a bouncer in a foul mood. The third, young, lanky, shifting like his conscience was itching. They didn't look nervous, they looked prepared. Too prepared for a paperwork check. "We've received a behavioral concern about minor 714. Be under your care," the tall one continued, eyes not on me but past me, into the hallway toward Ethan's room. I stepped forward, closing the door behind me, keeping myself between them and my house. "You just said a lot of words," I told him. None of them made legal sense. He flipped a page. Under Article 4.7d, the HOA retains the right to conduct minor safety compliance evaluations if a resident is flagged as high risk. "We're here to evaluate Ethan's living conditions." "Ethan's not a filing cabinet," I said, "and he's not subject to your spreadsheet fantasy." Stocky crossed his arms tighter. Clipboard guy didn't flinch. "Non-cooperation will be logged," he said, like issuing a parking ticket. Across the street, Linda stood by her flower bed, sipping from a stainless steel tumbler, dressed like a yoga instructor who'd given up on fitness. Her eyes locked on us, unblinking, smiling. She waved, mouthing, "It's for the best." I wanted to break something. The young enforcer cleared his throat. "We can escalate through proper channels, but our recommendation was a non-invasive approach." "That's what this is?" I asked, stepping off the porch. 3 guys in tactical vests knocking on a vet's door at sunrise? Buzzcut didn't move. "Are you refusing inspection?" "I'm refusing something," I said, still searching for the word. He opened his mouth, but paused. He'd noticed my posture shift, feet shoulder-width apart, hands loose, head tilted to gauge the distance to his clipboard. He knew one wrong move, and I'd put him down faster than he could say compliance. Silence stretched. Linda kept filming. My coffee sat cold behind the door. Finally, Buzzcut said, "We'll report non-cooperation and initiate Phase 2. Thank you for your time." They walked to their unmarked black SUV, no front license plate, tinted windows, not rushed, but efficient, like they'd done this before. Phase 2 lodged in my brain like a splinter. Behind me, the floorboards creaked. Ethan, barefoot, in pajamas, stood halfway down the stairs, eyes wide, breathing shallow. He'd heard enough. "You okay?" I asked. He nodded, didn't speak. I stepped outside, standing where the enforcers had been. My foot bumped something, a folded paper, creased, left on purpose. I picked it up. Ethan's name, a date, and 2 words stamped in red, Phase 2, approved. They came with smiles, clipboards, and tactical gear they barely knew how to use. But they weren't bluffing, they were rehearsing. Next time, there'd be no warning. The 4th citation came duct-taped to our door, not mailed, not tucked under the mat, taped. Ethan found it, staring until I peeled it off. Violation, visual disruption, front yard neglect. The crime? Ethan's bike, left on the lawn for 2 hours after school. Fine. $75. Below, in faint gray ink, persistent visual disruption may trigger compliance monitoring per Article 4.7d. I read it twice, then again. I didn't curse or tear it up. I folded it, set it on the counter, and made coffee, though my fingers shook. At breakfast, Ethan picked at his cereal like it had wronged him. Clara, my wife, stared at the wall. No one spoke. Finally, I asked, "Want me to take you in today?" Ethan shrugged, muttering, "I didn't do anything." Not "it's fine," not "I've got it," just "I didn't do anything." That's when I realized he wasn't scared of trouble. He was scared they might be right. Mike walked in 5 minutes later, holding 2 energy drinks and a flash drive like he'd stolen state secrets. "Okay, I did something," he said. "Technically legal, morally shady, necessary." He spun his laptop around, opening a folder labeled Project Sparrow, Pine Grove. Inside, timestamps, photos, reports, 32 families, all with a flag, single parents, veterans, kids. At the top, me. Ethan's profile was tagged 714, B, stability monitoring required. Mine, Daniel Carter, unstable/volatility risk, prior combat, resistance to mediation, surveillance authorized. The photos hit hard. Ethan leaving school, me pacing the driveway, Ethan in our backyard, outlined in red. Ethan's fingers curled around the table. Clara leaned closer, jaw locked. Ethan pointed at the screen. "They think I'm not safe here." I didn't answer. Then he said, "They think I'm not safe because of you." Clara's eyes flicked to me, sharp, searching, not blaming. I had no defense. This wasn't about what I'd done, it was about who I'd been. Mike cleared his throat. "This isn't a watch list, it's pre-clearance. Prep files for removals." "How long?" Clara asked. "Months," Mike said. "Linda didn't start this, but she's feeding them." I stood. "Don't," Clara said instantly. "You're not ready." "I'm not going angry, I'm going because she's counting on me not to act." Ethan spoke up. "I want to go with you." "No," I said fast. "You stay." His shoulders dropped, saying everything. Linda was in her garden, pruning, smiling, Bluetooth headset in one ear, lemonade in hand, like she was hosting a podcast for sociopaths. She saw me, didn't flinch, just smiled wider. "Daniel," she said, "did you see the newsletter? Tennis is back. You're flagging my son and surveilling my house." "I don't flag anyone. That's the system. I observe patterns." "You filed photos." "I submitted evidence. It's my duty to report when children may be in unsafe conditions." Her words were sweet, rehearsed, each syllable a blade. "You mean kids with veteran parents?" I said. Linda's smile held. "You'd be amazed how often that's the overlap." I stepped closer. "You think you're protecting the neighborhood, but you're abusing a system no one's watching." "I am watching," she said. "That's the point." There it was, not a slip, but a woman who thought oversight was ownership. She reached into her apron, pulling an envelope with a safe start, Family Oversight Division sticker. "Came to my house by mistake," she said. "Figured you'd want it." I didn't take it. She leaned in. "Take a break, Daniel. You're spiraling, and Ethan doesn't need chaos." She said it like a friend, but it hit harder than any punch I'd taken overseas. This wasn't just a power trip, it was systemic, weaponized neighborliness. She turned to her roses, envelope dangling, and I stood, jaw tight, every cell screaming not to move. Not yet. I wasn't just going to fight her, I'd dismantle the system enabling her. Ethan was gone. His bed empty, back door cracked, side gate swinging. No note, no shoes, no phone, just a quiet house and a cold slam in my chest. Then I saw his phone on the counter, unlocked. One text, "Meet me. Urgent. Lex." In the distance, a stifled yell, not loud, just enough to freeze the air. I moved fast, night heavy, no moon, streetlights flickering. I crouched, cutting through hedges, staying in shadow. Then I saw them. Black SUV, rear doors open, Ethan struggling, two men dragging him, one on a tablet. Same tactical gear, no clipboard, no hesitation. They weren't asking, they were taking. I didn't shout. I stalked, closing the distance like a ghost. The lookout turned, I struck, one punch to the windpipe. He dropped. The taller abductor turned, I pivoted, slammed him into the SUV. Metal dented, his spine folded. Ethan kicked one in the shin, giving me a window. I hooked the third's leg, twisted, pop. He screamed like a kicked dog. Ethan scrambled free. I pinned the tallest by the collar. Who sent you? No answer. His eyes flicked to the tablet. Read 714, B, asset transfer in progress. I zip-tied him, whispering, try again. Nothing. Cowards like him need permission to talk. Sirens approached. Neighbors' lights flicked on. Linda stood on her lawn, filming, smiling like a director watching her scene unfold. Cops arrived, 2 cruisers, a watch commander. Step away, one shouted. I complied, arms up. They tried to abduct my son. The officer looked at Ethan, then the zip-tied pile. One ran to the SUV, returning pale. There's a manifest, he said. GPS routes, safe start logos. Ethan stared, then said, they were really going to do it. Not a question. Linda stepped forward, calm. You always make things worse, Daniel. This could have been peaceful. You ordered this? I recommended escalation. They acted independently. Ethan's voice cracked. You think this is protecting me? Linda looked at him like a disappointed aunt. Sometimes safety means separation. Ethan snapped. You think he's the problem? You don't know what he's done to keep me safe. Linda turned to the cops. This is what I meant. Emotional volatility, sudden aggression. An officer hesitated, but Ethan stepped forward, loud enough for the crowd. She sent people to take me. You saw it. Everyone did. That sealed it. The cops detained the men. Linda turned, saying over her shoulder, You're not well, Daniel. That's what worries me most. We drove home in silence. Ethan stared ahead, then said softly, Did you hurt people like that before? I nodded. Worse. He didn't speak again. I stayed up, watching the door, reading the tablet's hidden folder. Phase 3, Re-education Protocol. My name, photo, time of collection, TBD. They weren't just after Ethan, they were coming for me. You ever relive a moment so often it rewires you? Kandahar did that to me. One warehouse, one kid, 1 second too slow. My team called me Stat, short for static, because I didn't flinch. They thought it was cool. It was survival. We were clearing a supposed weapons drop. Intel said it was cold. Wrong. 5 targets, 1 fired first, hit our comms guy. Everything went red. We dropped 2 in under a minute. 1 fled. Then I heard it, not a gun, a scream, soft, high-pitched, scared. I found her, 8, maybe less, hands over ears, tears streaming, no weapon. She wasn't part of it, just caught in it. She looked at me like I was the monster in her closet, then ran toward our evac perimeter. My hand twitched, my feet didn't move. For one breath, I saw Ethan's face, same eyes, same fear. I couldn't pull the trigger. She ran into gunfire. The report said unidentified civilian. The review called it regrettable. No one blamed me, I did. I could have grabbed her, shielded her, but I froze. That memory hit last night, not in a dream, in the kitchen. Ethan came downstairs past midnight, pale, getting water like he was avoiding ghosts. He didn't see me in the hallway, gripping the wall, shaking. Clara stepped beside me, voice soft. You scared him. I didn't answer. He's alive. That's not the same thing. Her calm voice cut deep. You think you're protecting him, but he's learning to disappear inside himself, like you. That landed hard. It wasn't about discipline, It was trauma. I couldn't breathe. I sat with Mike's files from Safe Start. Not just citations, therapist records, VA logs, a psych eval from 4 years ago. Some nights, I feel more dangerous to myself than anyone else. They logged it as aggression, instability, self-harm risk. They used my lowest moment to justify removing Ethan. I remembered that night. 3 sleepless days, off a meds trial that scrambled me. I wasn't broken, I was rebuilding. They twisted it like a confession. Clara found me staring at the screen. You okay? No. She sat beside me, silent, her presence louder than words. Ethan appeared in the hallway, hands in his hoodie, eyes full of shame, love, fear. You didn't sleep either. I nodded. You don't have to go to war for me. It's not just for you. He nodded, went upstairs. I stood. They called me dangerous, unfit. They forgot I've spent my life controlling the monster inside. Now I'd let it loose. Ethan screamed, sharp, slicing through the house. A body hit drywall. I was off the couch in 2 seconds. No shoes, no weapon, pure instinct. I hit the hallway sprinting, seeing a man in black tactical gear dragging Ethan by the collar. Ethan fought, kicking, twisting, losing. The man barked into a headset. 714. Be secured. Guardian's status unclear. Not tonight. I hit him mid-sprint, shoulder to ribs, taking him down. Ethan rolled free. I landed 2 punches, then an elbow to the throat. He gasped it out. A second came from the kitchen, knife in hand. I kicked a chair into his legs. He stumbled. I tackled him over the table. Glass shattered, blood pooled. The house groaned. He slashed, grazing my arm. I smashed the coffee pot across his face. He crumpled. Clara screamed upstairs, running. The third man approached, big, calm, efficient, used to finishing fights. He landed a punch to my ribs, hurt like hell. I countered with a headbutt. We stumbled. Then I saw it, Ethan's photo on his chest rig, laminated like a hunting tag. Something snapped. I yanked him forward, drove him through the wall. Plaster rained. Clara screamed. Ethan yelled my name. I didn't stop. 3 punches, then I caught myself. He was down, barely breathing. I stood, fists bloody. Clara pulled Ethan into her arms. He shook, eyes on me, not a hero, something unrecognizable. I zip-tied the one still breathing. The other 2 were out, one twitching, one not. I didn't check pulses. I grabbed the third's phone, unlocked it with his fingerprint. Exfil schedule, Guardian interference likely, 3 a.m. They came on schedule. Ethan whispered, you said we were safe. No judgment, just pain, disappointment, fear. I had no answer. Cops arrived 15 minutes later. City, not local, 2 squad cars, 1 cruiser, plainclothes twitchy. They saw the bodies, broken furniture, my bruised knuckles. Step back, one said. They broke in, attempted abduction. You do this yourself? Yes. He reached for cuffs. Check the phone, I said, tossing it. He scrolled, stopped. What is this? Guardian removal scheduled, phase 3 active. They didn't come to scare me, they came to erase me. Ethan stepped forward. It's true. They were taking me. He stopped them. Clara added, if he hadn't, you'd be dragging a body bag. The cops backed off, said the men would be processed. I knew that meant paperwork, delays, but they didn't arrest me. Later, I scanned the phone. Dozens of families, all phase 3, marked with times, locations, parents. Our status: incomplete, cause, Guardian resistance. A call log, outgoing to a familiar number. I played the audio. Linda's voice. Proceed. Keep it clean. He won't fight. He's exhausted. They all crack. My hand shook. I edited the file, replacing Guardian with Carter, father still here. I turned off the lights, locked the doors, sat by the window with a cold compress. Ethan came downstairs, looked at me, and for the first time in days, didn't flinch. Tomorrow, I'd walk into the Pine Grove HOA board meeting with the phone, files, evidence, and Linda. She wouldn't hide behind procedure. I was coming to end her reign. Linda sat in a folding chair under fluorescent lights, pearls, clipboard, smirk, like nothing happened. Pine Grove's HOA meetings were usually sleepy, retirees fussing over hedge height, the room smelling of weak coffee and resentment. Today it was packed. Neighbors, journalists, people who hadn't shown up in years. Linda sat center, beige pantsuit, lipstick perfect, her smile saying, "This is under control." Spoiler, it wasn't. "Mr. Carter," she said, "Saccharine, we weren't expecting you." I didn't respond, just placed my phone on the mic stand and pressed play. Proceed. Keep it clean. He won't fight. He's exhausted. They all crack. Her voice, her orders. The silence was surgical, no coughs, no whispers, just eyes on her. "That's from a body cam of a man who broke into my home at 3 a.m., I said, who zip-tied my son, authorized by this board's chairwoman to remove me permanently. Linda blinked, smiled. "That recording is out of context." "Which part?" I cut in. "Proceed? Remove?" They all crack. Henry Larson, the vice chair, tried to interrupt. "We're not here to litigate." "Then resign," I said, "because this isn't hearsay, it's data." I dropped a flash drive like a grenade. "Everything to verify Project Sparrow, your family wellness pilot, a legal framework for targeted removals. 33 flagged homes, dozens of kids, all surveilled, scored for emotional instability risk. This is slander," Linda said. "You're not well, Daniel. You never have been." She turned to the audience. "This man has a history of violence, mental strain. There's a reason he's flagged." She swung, weaponizing wellness to make me look unstable, so when I fell, people would cheer. But I had receipts. I played another clip, Accelerate Phase 3. Frame it as neighborhood safety. No one questions child. Henry stared at his desk. A man in a military jacket stood. "My daughter got a letter saying my granddaughter was at risk. She's 6. Linda, you sent that." Mrs. Thompson, in a fierce pink cardigan, cut in. I second his motion. Another voice. Third. It spread, voices raised, hands up, phones recording. Linda stood, staring like I'd undone a decades-long plan. Before the vote, she fired one last shot. "You're not saving Ethan, you're turning him into you." She wasn't wrong, and that scared me most. The board voted. Linda was suspended. Henry resigned 5 minutes later, an audit ordered. Safe starts funding frozen. Police notified. I walked into the sunlight, Clara leaning on the car, Ethan in the back seat, hoodie up, watching me like he wasn't sure who I was. "Did she fall?" he asked. I smiled. "She got pushed." He nodded, no smile. That night, my phone rang, blocked number. Silence, then a low voice. Phase 4 wasn't hers to approve. "We don't clean messes, we bury them." Click. I stared at a photo of Ethan at 6. Missing teeth, birthday hat, chocolate frosting. The last time I thought love alone could keep him safe. Now it wasn't enough. Linda was a pawn, and I'd kicked the board over. But whoever played her had the pieces, and I was done playing. Ethan slept on the couch, shoes on, like he didn't trust the house. His hands twitched every 5 minutes, fighting in his sleep. Linda was bait. The phone call proved it. They weren't scared of exposure. They were scared of me breathing. Next morning, I drove to a warehouse Mike had turned into a digital war room. Low rent, off-grid, surrounded by busted vending machines. Inside, 3 monitors, Faraday-shielded routers, the smell of energy drinks and paranoia. Mike was there, hoodie up, eyes on code. "Your license plate got pinged," he said. "Twice in Midtown, once near the freeway. Private geo-flagged systems, pulling thermal signatures." He showed red outlines of me and Ethan outside our house, labeled. "They're tracking your heat, man, you." I nodded. "Let's dig." Safe Start didn't exist. its number routed to a New York law firm with no attorneys, tied to a Luxembourg shell company owned by a Dubai holding group. Their servers held civilian movement logs, financial behaviors, biometric files labeled Observer Cohort 4, Ethan's sleep patterns, my post-deployment evals. They weren't securing, they were running behavioral simulations, testing how veterans like me, disciplined, damaged, react to pressure, humiliation, removal threats. Push just enough to spark violence, then document the fallout. Mike leaned forward. This isn't surveillance, it's a stress test. We traced funding, shell nonprofits, wellness grants, housing trusts, $2.3 million through fakes like American Future Fund, Community Unity Foundation, all washing money for Nexus, a privatized risk analytics firm contracted by U.S. federal subagencies for predictive modeling, now turned domestic. They weren't hunting criminals, they were pre-programming guilt. We found the kill doc encrypted. Mike cracked it. Carter, Daniel, Observer 714, B, Volatility Risk, Prior Military Trauma, Mission Report, Resistance Exceeded Threshold, Phase 4 Authorized, Objective, Neutralization, Status, Pending Clean Team Approval. They want a body, I said. Clara called at 5:12 p.m. He's gone. Ethan. Left a note, no location. I found him behind the school in the old batting cage, hoodie up, on the concrete. I didn't run, he said. I know. Needed a break from the cameras, the whispers from you. I sat beside him. You taught me to fight, then told me to run. Which is it? I didn't know. He looked away. They want you, not me. That's not true. It is. They want you gone so they can rebuild me. If I break, it'll be you. That hit harder than any fist. Back at Mike's, I told them everything. Clara held Ethan's hand. I didn't soften it. When I mentioned Nexus, Clara said, "What do we do?" Go public. Mike shook his head. They'll wipe it. We need a living thread, someone inside. He showed a still, security cam, Phoenix, grainy. Paul Grant, vice chair who resigned for integrity, entering a Nexus office with a pass badge. Mike ran his logs. Paul was never flagged, never a variable, always part of the system. Ethan stepped forward. What now? We find him, I said, and make him talk. I grabbed my old combat recorder. Battery full. I didn't need a judge, just 10 minutes with Paul and a story the world couldn't ignore. We found him in a downtown parking structure, 3 levels underground, parked, like he was waiting. He saw me, didn't flinch. You're not supposed to be here. Neither are you. At the warehouse, Mike blacked out Wi-Fi, scrubbed metadata, no signals. 1 chair, 1 bulb, 1 recorder. Paul sat, wristwatch inward, like he controlled time. You don't have to do this, he said. Do what? Pretend this is a war. I'm not pretending. If this were a war, you'd be in pieces. I hit record. You want answers? He said. You won't believe them. Try me. Silence. Then, you don't understand Phase 4. Help me. He smiled, pitying. It's not about Ethan anymore. I slid the flash drive over. We know about Safe Start, Nexus, Project Sparrow. Your name's on half the approvals. They needed someone clean, so I offered Pinegrove. You offered our reactions. His hands shook. Tell me about Phase 5. You're not cleared. I don't need clearance, I need truth. He exhaled. They're not tracking behavior, they're modifying it. They isolate kids like Ethan, flag them, engineer family reactions. They prove trauma can be programmed and reversed in an HOA cell, then sell the cure, behavioral obedience, reinforcement loyalty. He pulled a Nexus ID badge. This got me into Phase 5's hub in Phoenix, the core. It's not just computers, it's kids' influence. They feed Ethan's data into emotional conformity modules. He's the proof of transition. I froze. What happens to the proof after? He didn't answer. That was enough. Why, Paul? I thought order meant peace. Now I know peace built on fear doesn't last. Give me something worth leaking. He nodded, spilling names, agents, contractors, black badge teams for Phase 4 cleanup across 14 neighborhoods, maps, sentiment rings, risk coding. Ethan wasn't a subject, he was a blueprint, his reactions logged, mimicked in simulations for Phase 6, national rollout. The recorder filled an hour and 7 minutes. If you go back, you die, I said. If I stay, I die slower. I pocketed the recorder. Back home, I told Clara. She poured water, asked, "Why us?" "Because we fight. Because we matter." Ethan came downstairs, voice low. "I'm their blueprint?" "You were. You said you were protecting me, but you walked me into their system." I nodded. "Then I'll get you out." He didn't forgive me, but he sat beside me. That night, I opened my file. Carter, Daniel, threat level VA4, unstable, mission fixated. I deleted it. They don't tell my story anymore. I renamed the confession Operation Breakline, exported it. They used us as variables, but I don't break, I detonate. I didn't sleep before the breach, eyes open, every breath counting time. Clara paced in socks. Mike slept upright, hand on his keyboard. Ethan watched himself on the wall monitor. "You good?" I asked. "You said I was a template." "You were. What happens after tonight?" "They don't use you anymore." He nodded. "Let them see me." We left at 2:42 a.m., van loaded, no backup, just us, a hacked blueprint and a name. The core, a subterranean node under a Phoenix disaster response shell, heavily guarded, publicly invisible. Mike tracked thermal signatures, Clara ran comms. Ethan monitored the leak trigger from a safe house, his idea. "I'm part of this," he said. "Let me end it." I couldn't say no. We entered through a water shaft, cold, cramped, reeking of bleach. 12 feet down, 3 ducts wide, it opened beneath a blind security cam. Mike's work. We hit ground level at 3:08. 3 guards, non-lethal takedown, quick, silent. Clara watched our 6. I cracked the main corridor. The compound was clinical, white walls, black glass, humming with secrets. We reached the core server chamber at 3:11. Biometric lock, retina, vocal, pulse. Paul's credentials worked. The room was a surveillance cathedral, black towers, red lights blinking, fans cycling broken families' memories. Not a server room, a graveyard. Mike plugged in the drive. "We need 80% before going live. Anything less, they bury it." "How long?" "For minutes." I scanned the racks, found an unmarked door, unlocked. Inside, footage, simulations, thousands of renderings. Ethan, running, crying, freezing, emotions modeled. A holographic render, Ethan, 14, heart rate synced, adaptive model number 7, success rate 93%. They weren't watching, they were training him. I copied the directory, smashed the terminal. Back in the core, Mike called, 82%. Go live. He executed. The signal bounced across 400 nodes, darknet drops, university vaults, whistle servers under multiple country codes. Alarms hit, red lights, system spike. 3 guards approached. I neutralized one. Clara disarmed another. Mike tripped the breaker when the third went for the alarm. Hallway went dark. We vanished. 2 minutes to mirror wipe, Mike said. If we don't clear the buffers, they nuke the leak. I tossed Clara the drive. Get it to Ethan. What about you? I've got the fuse. I dropped 4 shaped charges on the tower course, timed for 45 seconds. A heavy ambushed me, trained, close quarters, concrete, and bone. He pinned me, forearm to throat. Clara swung a fire extinguisher to his skull. He dropped. You followed me? If they had my kid in those servers, I wouldn't leave either. Explosions chased us up the shaft, concrete shook, lights cracked, systems failed. In the van, Ethan opened the drive. Is this it? All of it. He hit enter. Mike confirmed. It's live. Silence, no cheering, Just weight lifting off our ribs. An hour later, a news site picked it up, then 3 more. By noon, everyone. The leak had Phase 5 schematics, safe start contracts, Ethan's model, Linda's audio, HOA emails, Nexus maps, Paul's confession. People exploded, parents, veterans, anchors cracking on air. One couldn't read Ethan's flag score aloud. Another ditched his earpiece, saying, "I'm done pretending this isn't evil." Linda became a meme, her "You're not stable," Daniel, quote graffitied, hashtagged, stickered. Ethan watched, didn't smile, said, "Now they know." The system cracked not in one day, but its mask shattered. It wasn't order, it was manufactured obedience. Ethan's model wasn't alone, but our files only covered District 4C. Somewhere another family's flagged, and they might not have someone like me. So I stay ready, protecting the blueprint. It's been 6 days. Maplewood looks the same. Sprinklers at 6 a.m., kids biking, late mail, but it feels different. Ethan checks the doorbell calmly, sometimes answers. Clara sleeps longer, hasn't touched the bat by the bed in 3 days. We don't talk about the core directly, it's in everything. When Ethan wants space, I give it. When I ask where he's going, he tells me. No fights, just trust. Something rules can't manufacture. Mike's gone ghost. Moved to Portland. New rig. New aliases. Still sending updates. Safe start restructured. Same blueprints. Watching schools. I'll watch more. Paul vanished, no charges, no footage, like someone higher up deleted him. Linda gave one interview, cut after 7 minutes for technical difficulties. Mercy, I call it. This was Ethan's story. His footage, thousands of clips, millions of eyes, comments off for his sanity. He watches one, the HOA meeting, Linda's face when the vote was called, not for revenge, but to remember truth wins. Last night, in the garage where I stored medals no one asked about, he asked, "Will I ever be normal? Do you want to be?" He shook his head. "I want to be ready." I knew then. I didn't lose myself saving him, but I burned the parts that couldn't carry peace. Protection isn't hiding your kid from the storm, it's teaching them to move in it, never losing their name. No medals, no headlines, just one house, one family, still here. They trained me for war, forgot what happens when soldiers come home angry, and picked the wrong neighborhood. Pine Grove is free, Ethan's safe, and Nexus's empire is exposed, crumbling under the weight of truth we unleashed.